Hey there, and welcome to Coffee with Gypsy Spirit. I have my coffee, but I decided to come home to enjoy what was left of it. I hope y'all had a really good 4th. I haven't been on video in about 4 days because I've been busy. And I have my 26-year-old son I've had to do some things with, and so I've been kind of busy. And I've been real busy also doing past life readings. And I have a sale going on right now. My past life readings are $100. They're usually $175. So I've been booked up with that. And if you want a past life reading, you can be anywhere in the world and I can give you one. And I'll give you my website address in the bottom of this description. But I do want to talk to y'all today about something that I'm noticing in the universe, because I've been doing some past life readings, like I said, and it's really busy last week with readings and energy work, and just really have seen some miraculous transformation in people, just like instantaneously. I mean, it's been great. And it's so magical and such a beautiful blessing for me to get to see it. But back in November, I was reading, I was doing all kinds of different readings and stuff, and I heard universe tell me that there was going to be some changes this year in 2025, that there was going to be some changes. There were going to be people that were going to be raising their vibration to a higher frequency. There were going to be a lot of people that had been searching and knowing that that they weren't happy where they were at, and that they were going to there was going to be a big shift. And a lot of us humans here on this planet. But yet, there was still going to be a lot of people on this planet that were not willing to make any changes, that they were still going to be like stuck to the planet. And I know, I think some of you have heard me say this before, but in my work, that's what I do, is I help people raise their vibration to a higher frequency. And the way that I compare it is that I love mob movies, like The Godfather. I love Al Pacino in that movie. He's so sexy. But anyway, when they kill you in the mob movies, when they kill somebody, the way they do it is they will shoot them, excuse me, or they will beat them to death. And then they'll tie a cement block around them and throw them in the ocean or river, where they sink to the very bottom of the water floor. And I think that being born onto this planet is very much equivalent to that. When we're born onto this planet, it's like coming to a death and having that cement block tied around us and thrown at the bottom of the ocean. This planet being the bottom of the ocean. But we're the only ones that have the knife to cut the rope to release us from that cement block so that we can rise above. And it's when we learn to bring our physical world and our spiritual world together, that's when we begin to raise our vibration to a higher frequency. And that's where we find peace and joy in our lives and within ourselves. And so what I was getting back in November from my spirit guides was that in 2025, there's going to be a lot of people on this planet that are going to shift their energy. They're going to start raising their vibration to a higher frequency. and they're ready. They're ready for it. But there's still going to be people that are just going to be stuck here on this planet. They're not interested. I mean, they don't have the slightest idea or umption, if you will, about releasing themselves from that cement block. They are planted on this planet, and they're not going to change. And they're just going to have to die in this lifetime, come back and repeat it again. And it was at that time that I realized that those people I did not want to work with. I only wanted to work with the people that were interested in raising their vibration to a higher frequency. Didn't matter if they were, on a very, very low vibration. That didn't matter. As long as they were interested and knew that they needed to make some changes and shift their energy, I was willing to work with them. The other ones, I don't have time. The ones that are still stuck, their vibration is still stuck on this very low on this planet, and they're not interested in removing the cement block. Those people are all about drama, being the victim, blaming everybody and everything else for all their problems in their life, and just poor, pitiful me, and they're just not ready, and that's okay, But I'm not the one to work with them. Those are the people that would call me up, or any spiritualist, tarot reader, or whatever, and they want to know about their old boyfriend. They want to know what the old boyfriend that they haven't seen in 2 or 3 years or however long, they want to know if he's still thinking about them and if he's still in love with them. And if he's thinking about them, what exactly is he thinking about? And does he have a new girlfriend? And what's going on in their lives? And, and I'm like, no, I'm not interested in doing a reading on that. If you want to make some changes in your life and try to move those blockages that are keeping you tied into that energy field, then yeah, I'd love to work with you. But I don't care about what your old boyfriend's thinking about, if he's thinking about you or not. And I can tell you now, you really don't need to be spending $130 for a reading with me for something like that, when you can just go to one of your best friends and they can tell you. It doesn't take a tarot reader to give you the answer. I don't even do your tarot cards. I can just give you the answer right offhand. Honey, if you hadn't heard from him in 3 years or so, he ain't thinking about you. He's moved on with his life. Move on with yours. That's what the universe wants you to do. So, yeah, I saw that. And so I made a decision that I wanted to only work with people that were ready to shift their energy so that they could get into a place of total bliss and peace and happiness. Because I can tell you something, I've been on that energy field where my vibration was so low, I was a fucking train wreck, and I had to work. We all do. It's not, I'm not saying it was just me, but if you are on a journey to raise your vibration to a higher frequency, honey, it is fucking work. It is a lot of work. And often you have to remove yourself away from everybody. You may have to quit a job. You may have to go jobless for a little while. I can't even tell. I got real sick. I ended up coming down with COVID and was in the hospital 4 different times. I almost died. I had to go through so much stuff to to get to a point where I could raise my vibration to a higher frequency. And they say it's lonely at the top. Yeah, you will definitely, if you're real serious about raising your vibration to a higher frequency, oh yeah, you will find yourself a whole new playground with all new playmates, because all those people from your past, they're not, they don't bring any good to you. And and if they want to raise their vibration to a higher frequency as well, that's wonderful. But some of those people, they just have to go on their own journey while you do your own journey, and it's okay. But yeah, it's very life altering, life changing. But once you get there, I'm telling you, once you get there, there is no going back. You will not go back. Oh, you will not go back. Because once you get there, the peace and the I don't know, the peace and the just the signs and the communication that you have with the universe and within yourself, there is nothing like it. There ain't no man, no drug, nothing that compares to it. And you know what? You're okay to be alone. I hear these women all the time. I have a little speck on my phone, and now I did something. I don't know what I did, but anyway. Well, but I hear women talk about all the time how they don't want to be alone. They're so afraid to be alone. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I felt that way in the very beginning. I was like, because I was always so used to being in a relationship. Ever since I can, hit my teen years or whatever, I was always in a relationship. And then when I got into my 50s, guess what? There was no relationship. There was nobody and I started, I thought that I wanted to be in a relationship, and it just didn't, I don't know. I realized later that this is not right for me. I needed to learn to find me and find my own true authentic self and be true to myself, and then once I got there, it was like, hell, fuck no, I ain't given all the work that I've done to be where I'm at. No, I'm very, very selective. Not only am I selective about romantic relationships, I'm even more selective, or pretty much equivalent, I guess, about friendships, business, who I do business with, who I associate myself with in business. Because, there's a lot of tarot readers right here in Charleston, South Carolina, where I live, and they're really, most of them are really, really good. I mean, I have a few friends that I have the most respect for in their work, but there's others that are a little questionable to me, and I won't even allow them to be friends with me on Facebook, because I have to be very careful. When you're in this business, believe me, you have to be really careful about who you associate yourself with, because there's so many scams and dishonest people in this field, as in any line of work. But I've had clients of mine call me and tell me that they started seeing a psychic, and the psychic told them that there was an evil spell on them, and that it was going to cost them like $2,000 to get the spell removed. And I'm like, what? What the hell is that all about? So I have to be very careful who I associate myself with, or even, be friends with on Facebook, in regards to that. But I will tell you this. So I've been doing a lot of readings for everybody. Now, this is what I was leading up to. I know you have to bear with me. I drink this coffee and I start getting wired. But you sure didn't want to see me this morning before I had the coffee. I was like death warmed over because I didn't sleep well last night. I was having back problems. But anyway, so I do weekly readings for people. It's a video, just like this video right here, but they're personalized. And they pay me $20 a month. They get every week a, I don't know, 10 or 15 minute personal reading as to what to expect for the week and that sort of thing. And if you want one, all you have to do is text me and I will give you instructions on how to get that. Your first 2 weeks are free. I do that just so that, you can see my style of reading and see if we're a good fit together. So, anyway, all these people that I read for, they are on that, the work. They're doing the work and raising their vibration to a higher frequency. And yet, every one of these readings are personal. So if I were to do a reading for you, I would send you the link to the YouTube video, but it's a private link. Nobody else gets this link. Nobody else is allowed to see this video except for me and you, unless you share it with somebody else. But what I have noticed with all these, every reading, and I do about, 20, 30 readings a week for this, and every one of the readings, it's like they're a lot of the same sort of thing. I mean, it's like the energy is the same, which tells me, and I've talked about this before, that we are all energetically connected. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ancient Aliens. I love me some Giorgio Tsoukalos and some of those other guys. I love the guy that looks like Jimmy Page. And there's another guy, David Childers, I think is his name. They're all great. And thank you, Giorgio Tsoukalos, for bringing us Ancient Aliens. I believe he was kind of like the founder of it. But anyway, we are all energetically connected in some way or another. And it's interesting how every week when I do these readings, and I cleanse my space. If I do a reading for you, the way that it would happen is I cleanse with my sage myself and the space, the cards, all the cards that I'm going to use, I cleanse those with sage, and I'll do your reading. I'll draw your cards and everything, shuffle and draw. And then when I get done with you, before I move on to the next person, I do the same thing. Every reading, everything is cleansed. All the cards are cleansed, everything. Because I don't want somebody's energy following into the next reading. And so I make sure that all the energy is cleared out before I start a new reading for somebody. But what I have noticed is that a lot of people that I read for on a weekly basis, often the same card, maybe one of the same cards out of the tarot deck keeps popping up. Or maybe an oracle card, the same oracle card keeps popping up in every reading. And here's the thing about that. It's because I said these are all individualized readings. Yes, the energy is a lot of the same, the shifting. But I can draw, like for instance, this is a Ace of Wands. So I could draw this for 8 different people, this same card. And every reading for each person will be different. The same card will represent something different. But so the energy is, it's like we're all connected. We're all shifting, but we're all at different paces. You see what I'm saying? So even though there's about 8 or 10 people that are getting this same card, the way it's read is different. You know, I depend a lot on my intuition and my spirit guides to do the readings for me. They tell me what to say, because if I was just reading off the card by itself, you know, then yeah, everybody would get the same damn reading, you know. Oh, okay, yeah, this is an Ace of Wands, and it means clarity, and you know. So you see what? So yes, I do in my readings. I depend on spirit guide to give me direction and where to go with the reading. But the other thing that I noticed, I'm going to tell you, is that a lot of these people that I'm reading for, most of them are women. I might have 1 or 2 guys I'm reading for. All of them are women. And there's been a couple of women that have come to me, and 5 years ago or so, 4 or 5 years ago, they got into relationships. And they were on their vibration was not where it's at today. And over time, they have realized that their vibration is rising to a higher frequency. But the relationship, the person that they've been with all this time, they're not shifting. They're the ones that they're not putting the work in it. They're going to stay just like they are. And so they're realizing that, you know, I got to get out of this relationship. It's not working for me anymore. And I'm willing to bet you, if you're listening to this and you've been in a relationship for I don't know, however long, and you're wanting to raise your vibration to a higher frequency, and you've been working on it for a while, I'm almost willing to bet that your relationship is much like some of the others that I've been seeing. And I say that because of what my guides told me back in November. That this year, 2025, it's going to be a year of shift. A lot of people are shifting their energy to a higher vibration. And they are leaving behind the people that don't want to be on that journey. I had a boyfriend back in 2015. We were together for about 2.5 years, and he was an alcoholic, but aside from that, I mean, he was well aware of things of spiritual nature. I mean, I learned things from him. And I was so devastated when we broke up. I was so devastated. I cried and cried and cried because I really did love him, in spite of the problems that we had, mostly with his drinking. But I knew that he and I were never going to be on the same path. And I had to get counseling from another spiritual advisor. And one of the things that she told me, she said, you and Brian were walking along on this journey, this spiritual journey, and you wanted to keep walking on that journey. But he wasn't willing to walk. He didn't want to go any further. So he took a U-turn. And he did. That's exactly what happened. She said he took a U-turn because he just didn't want to go down that path. He wasn't ready for it. He could have. And he would have been very successful. But he didn't want to. He had a lot of fears and a lot of demons that he was dealing with. And so if you're finding yourself in that situation where you are really wanting to move forward with your spiritual path, raising your vibration to a higher frequency, but you're with somebody that's like holding you down from moving forward, yeah, it's time to cut them loose. It's painful. Yeah, it's painful. But you can only grow so much while you're in the company of that person. And if that person has chosen, like Brian did, to take a U-turn, for some reason or another, they don't want to go down that path. Could be fear, just they're not ready. And that's okay, because you needed to spend time with that person. You've been with that person for a reason. You made a contract with that person before you came into this planet. So you're ready to move on. And you've seen what you needed to see in that relationship, learned what you needed to learn about yourself. And oh my God, when Brian and I broke up and I had to do the self-work, oh my God, I saw so much of how he and I were so much alike. Everything I hated about him, I was carrying that energy with me, and I needed to release it. And there was no way in hell that I was ever going to be able to release it with him, you know, as long as I was in a relationship with him. So I definitely needed to get out of the relationship. It was just painful. I had a lady come and sit at my table this past week, and she told me she knows that she's got to let go of this guy, and she dearly loves him. She loves him so much, and she started crying because she said, you know, I love him so much, and he's just such a beautiful person, but I know that he's holding me back, and I can't be with him anymore, and it is just breaking my heart to have to let him go, because I know I'm going to hurt him, but I have to go through this. And so what I did something I don't normally do. I said, well, you know what, let's take a look and see what's going to happen for you after you break up with him. So I did another little reading for her, and oh my goodness, her cards were beautiful. I mean, everything was upright. Honey, we had the High Priestess, we had the Lovers, and we had the Sun card. I told her, I said, everything in your world is going to rock. It's going to be so good. You're going to meet somebody new that's going to be on your vibration, you know, and it's just going to be this great energy all around you, but you got to let go of him first. So have your cry it out, but you got to let go of this guy, because you're not going to get to where these future cards are telling you. And she understood. So I'm asking you, is that where you're at? You know, are you trying to raise your vibration to a higher frequency, and yet you're having a hard time because you're stuck in some sort of, I don't know, relationship, friendship, job, whatever, that's holding you down? So, you want to do a couple of weeks of free readings with me? Let me know. But speaking of readings, I've got to get to work so I can do my weekly readings for my regular clients that I do weekly readings for. But I will talk to you again tomorrow, and I hope this makes a lot of sense to you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.